Hi, my name is Robert DiCenzo. I'm the Dean of the School of Pharmacy at Boston and the Associate Provost for Pharmacy Education at MCPHS.
Hi, I'm Steve Crosby. I'm the Associate Dean of Student Engagement and Success for School of Pharmacy Boston. I'm also an Associate Professor of Pharmacy Practice within the Department of Pharmacy Practice for the School of Pharmacy.
That's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to become a pharmacist, is there are so many options with a foundational degree of pharmacy. Right now it's a professional doctorate degree, so that in itself opens up a lot of doors for you, whether you stay in pharmacy practice or not. But as we've seen it evolve through the 80s, 90s, and now up to 2025, we've seen it go from just primarily community pharmacy, practicing within your community, supporting healthcare within your community, then into health system, primarily hospitals at first, but now long-term care, any type of managed care opportunities. And now we're seeing it really flourish in biopharmaceutical industry or the life sciences industries. And that's been very exciting and something relatively new for our profession. We always had pharmacists in those careers and in leadership positions within those careers, but now there's a much higher percentage of our graduates that are looking into these, say, less traditional pharmacy careers or careers outside of direct patient care. Well, one area of interest or growth and opportunity for our graduates is in pharmacogenomics. Really what that is taking all that they know about the pharmacology or how drugs work or what drugs do to people, and pharmacokinetics, what people do to the drugs, and then adding the human genome to that. And what that allows a pharmacist to do is not only be the expert in the room as far as the more traditional or basic sciences related to pharmacy, but now also personalizing or making that medicine much more precise for the patient that they're serving. Everything from the potential likelihood of an adverse event or an allergic reaction to changing the dose because someone might metabolize the drug more quickly based on their human genome. So I think that's really exciting, and we're very fortunate here. We have a graduate certificate in precision medicine that we developed with Harvard School of Medicine, and that's all of our PharmD students can enroll or matriculate into that graduate certificate. And there are two electives in the pharmacy program. If they choose electives that support that certificate, count towards it, and they just have to take one more 3-credit-hour class. And this last year, I believe over 60 of our graduates from the PharmD program graduated with that credential, a graduate certificate in precision medicine.
Well, I think one of the things that I think is really is really a strength of our program is we really do take an individualized approach to working with students from when they start the program really throughout their entire time. So I think part of taking that individualized approach, not only is supporting their academic progress, but it's also supporting everything on the professional development side. And I think that's part of where the leadership in pharmacy education, the Life Institute, has come into the picture, in that the Life Institute is providing a window to those professional development opportunities, as well as some academic support opportunities as well.
Yeah, the Life Institute is kind of one-stop shopping for the students to find all the student support services that we have available to them, but also finding out all the credentials that we have available to them in addition to the PharmD program. It was really the first time that both schools of pharmacy, the School of Pharmacy Boston and School of Pharmacy Worcester Manchester, collaborated on such a big project that could be so impactful on the students. So it really serves both of our schools of pharmacy, which then gives our students opportunities that they might not have in one school that are available at another. And really the mission of the Life Institute was to support the success of the students while they're with us, but then also make sure that they have the credentials they need based on whatever career path that they choose, whether it's a more traditional pathway, like a patient care pathway in community pharmacy and hospital pharmacy, long-term care, supporting public health, or going into the life sciences industries, whether it's more a very small CRO or company or a very large international biopharmaceutical company. One of the advantages that we have in Boston is we are now one of the major hubs, international hubs for the life sciences industry. So we picked the name Life as leadership in pharmacy education, but it also matches really well with our focus on preparing our students for those less traditional careers, like careers within the life sciences industry. We're very fortunate to be in the location we are. We happen to be in the Longwood Medical area, which is really houses some of the best research institutions, medical centers in the country, whether it's Beth Israel Deaconess, Dana-Farber Cancer Center, Brigham Women's and Children's Hospital, Harvard Medical Center, and that's just down the street from us. And then of course we're in the city of Boston, and just across the river is Cambridge. And there's obviously opportunities not only for experiential education, or when our students spend a third of their time outside of the classroom, outside of our walls, working alongside and learning from pharmacists and other healthcare professionals. But it also gives a lot of opportunities for research for our students while they're here. It gives a lot of opportunities for our graduates to do postgraduate education like residencies and fellowships. And in fact, we have the second largest biopharmaceutical industry fellowship with over 100 fellows currently in that postgraduate program. It's a 2-year program. We partner with over a dozen companies, and those are graduates who are pharmacists but are looking for a career in the biopharmaceutical industry. And that's a wonderful opportunity for not only our graduates, but we take graduates from throughout the world into those fellowship programs.
Even with student involvement in some of our student professional organizations, I think being in this location really presents a lot of opportunities to do things in the community and things along those lines.
When you think about all pharmacy programs, they have a third of the program is experiential education, or students out on rotations. But of course, that's dependent on what type of opportunities you have for your students. And being in Boston and having some of the best medical centers and research centers in the world gives our students an advantage when they're done with their time here and they graduate. That is obviously connections that they're making, networking that they're doing, and then obviously something to talk about while they're interviewing, the experiences that they have. It also gives our students a lot of opportunities to do research while they're students. And that could be anything from just being on a poster that's presented at a meeting, or some of our graduates are actually on a paper that is published in a peer-reviewed journal. First of all, the location that we're at and the opportunities that that's going to provide you, because a third of all pharmacy programs are experiential education. The opportunities it's going to provide you for postgraduate education like residencies and fellowships, and the opportunities it's going to provide you for research. The dedication that our faculty have to open up their research programs to our students. We have standardized program like the Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship, or SURF program, which is a wonderful acronym for the summer, by the way. But in addition to that, it's not uncommon for our students to work on a research project with faculty just because they get to know the faculty member, and the faculty are very willing to open up their research programs to our students. And that could be bench research with one of the faculty in our sciences department, or it could be clinical or patient-centered research with one of our faculty in our pharmacy department.
I think faculty accessibility is a key point. I also think I also think that it's knowing that it's knowing that your individual success is going to be supported from day one all the way through the process, and the ability to the ability to speak to the individual, right, and to and to really focus and to really focus on what the learners, what the learners' needs are, right, and what their, what their specific goals and aspirations are. Yeah, and part of that, and part of that is the faculty accessibility supporting that as well.
I think maybe pointing out the difference between MCPHS and a research-focused university. Our faculty do excellent research, and that research enriches the teaching and learning that happens in our classroom. But our primary mission is the success of our students in teaching and learning. So our faculty aren't necessarily going to get tied down to having to bring in a certain amount of research money into the programs. We'll support the research, and what we expect is that our faculty will open up their research programs and give opportunities for our students to collaborate with them, and then bring back into the classroom what they're learning in their research programs. So I think that's a difference, because there's programs out there that are very large research universities. They tend to be very dependent on bringing in grants, and so the focus of many of their faculty is on grants and doing research, whereas our faculty do that, but the focus is on teaching and learning.
When I was a high school student, I had an opportunity to to work in an independent pharmacy, and that was really that was, for me, that was really the entry into what the profession was about. And I had an opportunity to to work in the independent pharmacy, a few years before before starting college, and I think that gave me that gave me a strong foundation to kind of go into that next academic piece.
I was good in math and science, so they said, well, here's an option pharmacist. I really didn't know anything about it. So then I met with some folks who were pharmacists in the area, and one that had a big impact on me was Mr. Peterson Drugs, which was an independent pharmacy in Western New York, and seeing that he was a pillar in our community and how much the community felt that he supported their best interest in their health care. However, I still was wondering, well, what if I don't want to just work in a community pharmacy? So then I actually was introduced to John Loeffner, who worked at the University of Rochester Medical Center, who specialized in cancer therapy. And he mentioned how he did a fellowship in Alaska for 2 years. So I said, well, I have those opportunities as well. And it was really the combination of the two that sealed the deal for me, and that pharmacy, I can do so much with it that it's a career that I want to pursue.